Hello, my name is Alex, and you are listening to the Staggered Stance podcast. It is finally here. I've been working on this for a few months, actually, but I'd never really had time to actually fully sit down, and film episodes, so here we are. And we're actually off to a really good start. This is actually my third time filming this episode because it keeps on getting deleted. I'm so sad, but we're going to push through. Before I talk about what this podcast is about, I'm going to give a little bit of introduction to myself. My name is Alex Ostrowski. I'm originally from Park City, Utah, but I moved to Sayulita, Mexico when I was 6 years old in 2011, and since then I have lived here, I should say. In 2016, we were introduced to a paddling group that trained on the beach, and since then I have committed to the sport of stand-up paddleboarding competitively, and have traveled to the United States to compete, and hopefully I hope to eventually travel to other continents as well and compete. I am also very in tune with my emotions and my mental health, and I find it really important to be aware and also talk about it so that some people who are also dealing with the same things, who don't really have an outlet or something, actually have someone that they can relate to. So I really hope to be the voice for a lot of those situations. And also, the community in Mexico when it comes to paddling is a very small community, so we don't have as much of a voice. Because also, on top of the fact that we are in a completely different situation than a lot of the high-ranking countries when it comes to stand-up paddleboarding, we also have a very completely different view of the sport. Me specifically, I am 1 in 100 when it comes to paddleboarding here in Mexico. So again, I can't be the only voice, but I hope to be a strong enough voice to talk about certain situations, issues, all those things. And I also really hope to have interviews with different people in Mexico and all around the world, different paddlers, to also get their points of views on different situations too. Because more than anything, paddleboarding is a community, and we all have stuff to talk about, and we all have our own opinions, so I'd love to share that. So, if you are thinking of being in an interview, please let me know, because I would love to talk to you. Doesn't matter really who you are. Everyone has something they'd love to talk about, so if you are willing to step on the podcast and be interviewed, then by all means, send me a message. On top of this podcast being about paddling, I'd also love for it to be about personal and lifestyle, whether that be motivation, lifestyle choices, good habits, all those things. I'd love to talk about that stuff because I'm always a freak when it comes to those things, honestly. So yeah, this is my podcast where I give my staggered stance about everything paddleboarding and personal and lifestyle. So I hope you join along and enjoy this podcast. If you have any recommendations, constructive criticism, all those things, please let me know, because again, this is a one-man or a one-woman project. I am a beginner. I've never done this before, so if there's any recommendations, please let me know. I hope to be streaming on all platforms. I am also filming a visual version of the podcast, and as much as I enjoy doing that, it really is easy for me to do it just because I like filming YouTube videos. I have a lot of YouTube videos on my YouTube channel, so creating visual content is easier for me, so I thought it'd be a really good start to the podcast, but eventually I do want to stop creating visual content for the podcast just because it's more time consuming, it's more work, but for right now, you guys get a visual podcast episode as well. So yeah, I think I talked about everything that I want to talk about in the first episode. Let me know if you have any ideas you want me to talk about, any recommendations, if you want to be interviewed. And yeah, thank you for listening to my very first podcast episode. Goodbye.